Good day, everyone. Today we will present our tools, PlayGuards, an open source PowerShell obfuscation and IOC detection engine for blue teams. Here the members are Bretan Herdono Mulyono, Nicholas Sabtra Gunawan, and me, Satya Kusuma. Next. Next, okay. What will we discuss today is what is PlayGuards, the key features, and there will be a live demo, and a summary of the PlayGuards. So the big question is, what is PlayGuards? PlayGuards is an open source PowerShell obfuscation and IOC detection engine for blue teams, which fully support for Windows and Linux. Next. As for the main features, there are three features. The first one is PowerShell obfuscator that enable static detection and obfuscation using regex meshing, which allow analysis of the obfuscated code while extracting domain and IP address value and to ensure the precise and reliable obfuscation. As for the IOC checker, the PlayGuards will provide a parameter for analyzing IOC, which is hash, IP address, domain, and signature. And it will be queries to public threat intelligence source like VirusTotal and Malwarebyzar via API, and it will be parse the JSON response into Markdown and convert it to a structured downloadable PDF report for clear and actionable insights. And the last one is automated reporting, which PlayGuards automates PDF reporting for PowerShell obfuscation results and IOC checks, presenting finding in a clear, structured, and easy to read format. Next. So the application flow, there are two flow. The first one is IOC query. The user will input the IOC into the PlayGuards, and then the PlayGuards will request to API and parse the API response to Markdown and convert and generate the analysis report into PDF. So the user will receive the report and can download the report also. As for the second flow, it is to upload first PowerShell file, and the PlayGuards will deobfuscate the script and search for the query IOC query, which is domain and IP address, and then it will request to the API, parse the response, and it will be converted and generate into a PDF report, which can be downloadable also. Next. As for the tech stack, we have Django as the framework, Python as the main code for the obfuscation IOC checks and automate reporting. And for the format of the report, we use LaTeX and so on. As the API we use for VirusTotal and Malwarebyzar. Next.
So for the PowerShell deobfuscator, we have 12 main functions to run this feature. The first one is to concat strings and value and variable, where in this case we have 3 example of variable, which is A, B, and C, where B is the result of the A value that is combined with the attacker.com strings, and C variable value is the B value that combines with the /malware.exe strings value. So how is it works? So from this feature for all the functions, so the A value first is moved to the B value first, the B variable, before to do the concat activity. So to do the concat activity is marked by the plus sign, which is shown in the red sign. And the application will do the concat activity after the value has been moved. So the result can be seen in the picture below. So as we can see that the A have the own variables named HTTPS only, the B value with the attacker.com, and the C value with the malware.exe value. So we successfully concat this value into a one very readable value and inside the variable. So the second one is to concat strings value that has the same variable. So in this case, we have the A variable that have plus equal sign, that means that the initial a variable value is concat or adding by the new value inside the line below. So the second and the third line is attacker.com and /malware.exe is added to the a variable value. So from this function, we can see the result in the picture below that the a variable value is only one liner, which is https:/attacker.com/malware.exe. So we combine the different value from the second and third line, but have the same variable value, which is a. That's it. Next. The third feature is to decode base64. So basically for this function, there are two patterns that application can recognize. And the first one is recognizing the string pattern that ending with the double equal sign. So as we can see in the picture in the right side, we can see that in the end of the string, there are two double equal sign, which means that this string is containing a base64 encoding string. So with this pattern, application is trying to decode the base64 encoded string that we found inside the obfuscated PowerShell code and change it into the plain text. So as we can see the results in the picture below. Next. The second pattern is by recognizing the from base64 string function that used inside the obfuscated PowerShell code. So as we can see on the right side, so there is a from base64 string that detected inside the line of code, which inside the brackets there is the base64 encoded string that we want to decode. So application will take the only the value inside the brackets and decode it using base64. So and change it into the plain text. So as we can see the results in the picture below. So it's really readable and to become 5-liner code from the only 1-liner code. That's it. Next. The next function is to evaluate backtick, where there are 4 patterns that the application recognize inside this value, inside this function. The first one is the new line backtick pattern that's been marked by the N sign. The second one is the horizontal tab that been marked by the T sign. The third one is written by the R sign, and the lastly vertical tab by backtick V sign. So from these 4 patterns, application can evaluate it and run it inside the code. So as we can see in the result below, the new line is successfully executed between the malware.exe and WannaCry.exe string, which is split into 2 lines. The second one is the horizontal tab is successfully also executed between the WannaCry.exe and the full stop inside the second line. The third one is the return line, and the fourth line, then the last pattern is the vertical tab pattern, which is done by between the full stop inside the second line and the done string in the third line. So we successfully run the vertical tab command. The next one is to separate code into a separate lines of code where semicolon symbol is used as the separator. So as we can see in our sample, that the code is only a 1-liner code. So it's really quite difficult to understand and read the code. Because there are several semicolon symbols inside the code, application can process it and split it into multiple lines. So as we can see the results in the picture below, that we successfully split the code into a 6-liner of code, where there are some functions that run inside the sample, such as the base64 decode is also run inside this code, and the concat function is also run inside this code. Next. The next one is the flexible variable value change, where there are 2 different value inside the A variable. The first one is the malware.exe, and the second one is the WannaCry.exe value. So because the second line is the newest of the value from the f variable, the application will take only the newest variable that resulting by the same variable, which is the WannaCry.exe. So as shown in the picture below, that the a variables is the WannaCry.exe value. The next one is to processing arithmetic operation inside char, where there are 5 operations that can be processed by the application. The first one is plus, the second one is minus, the third one is multiply, the fourth one is divide, and the fifth is the sort operation. So as the example that we can see in the picture below, the black background, so there are 5 lines of code, which the first line is without any arithmetic operation inside, only the integer value itself. And the second until the fifth line is containing all the 5 operations that I have stated before. So the arithmetic itself is doing inside the bracket sign. So as we can see in the result in the picture below with the gray background, the application processing the arithmetic operation and change it into a string value. So as we can see, the result is becoming a string format value that can be seen in the picture below. Next. So the next function is to evaluate replace, where from this case, we want to replace the ZCP string into the newest string named SCR. So we want to replace the old string into the newest string value. So application will process this function and change the old string value, whatever the user wants. And from this case, we can see the results in the picture below, which is shown the results is WannaCry.exe. The next one is to evaluate the split, where this function is used to divide one string pattern value or the one string only value into a multiple string. So like this example, we have a one value string which named malware.exe that we want to split with the full stop symbol. So the application will process the split function and divide this one string value into 2 different string, which is malware and exe, because it split it based on the full stop symbol that found inside the one string value. Next. The next one is to evaluate join, where this is the contradictive of the split function. For the example, we have 2 different string inside this sample, which is malware and exe, that we want to join it with the full stop sign as the separator. So application will process the join function and change it into a one string value, which is for this case is malware.exe as shown in the picture below. The next one is to recognize and evaluate white space, where in this function, application styles can still recognize like the concat function operation while having a very big white space between the string and the symbol. As we can see from the picture, that the string and the plus sign have a very big white space value. So, but the application can read it and still processing the concat operation, which is resulting a malware.exe value in the picture below. Next. The last one is to obtain IOC parameter input, which is domain and IP. So the application will recognizing domain and IP address that exists inside the deobfuscated PowerShell code, if any. So like this example, we have one domain and one IP address that found it inside this code. So the domain is inside the 7th line of code, and the IP is found in the first line and the 4th line, which is 192.168.0.16. So from this domain and IP address value, the application will do IOC check into Virus Total Threat Intelligence tool and give it the result inside the same report as the deobfuscated code result. So user will get not only the deobfuscated code result, but also the IOC check result based on the domain and the IP address that found inside the code. Next. Now we explain about the IOC checker input feature. So there are 4 input that user can give inside the application. The first one is the signature input, The second one is the hash, the third one is domain, and the fourth one is IP. This input field must be two arguments only, not more, not less. So if user give more than that or less than that, the application will return the errors. And also for the first parameter of the argument must be one of these four parameters. So if user not give the first argument with the exact parameter value, it will show the error from the application. So this is for the inputs from the IOC checker feature. Next. Now this is for the report results. The first one is for the IOC checker feature that signature parameter is used. So as we can see for the content list, we have three main lists. The first one is the threat intelligence report. The second one is additional details, and the third one is the recommendations. Where from the threat intelligence report, we have some subclasses such as file information one and malware signature and hashes information. So as we can see on the right picture, that we can see the details one of the file information and the additional details and the recommendations. For the file information itself, we can see some detailed information such as the file name, the file size, the file type, MIME type, the hash information, and the last seen information. And for signature and hashes, we can see the signature information, imp hash, and the dash icon information. There are also some additional details, if any, and the recommendation to prevent this malware is being attacked in the same pattern again in the future. Next. The second one is for IOC checker that hash input is used inside the input parameter, where there are also three main contents, which is threat intelligence report, additional details, and recommendation. Where for the threat intelligence report, we have some subclasses such as overview, the file information, identification and classification, and threat analysis by vendors. So as we can see on the right image is the detailed content from the report that we can see such as information such as file name, file size, file type, MIME type, the hash information, and the last seen information. And the identification and classification information is also written, such as the signature information and the HIM hash information. And also there are some detailed information related to the threat analysis by the vendors and the additional details and the recommendations detailed information inside the reports. Next. The third one is for the domain parameter input, which consists of the threat intelligence report, domain information, IP information, and last analysis results for the content list inside this report. So the content itself consists of the detailed information about the domain and the analysis results, and also for the IP. The domain itself is such as a domain name, information, registrar, TLD, who is record, and the analysis summary from the virus total from the domain. And there are several also details information related to the analysis of statistic, FP information, and last analytics results inside this report. Next. The next one is for the IP IOC checker input, which consists of IP address information, who is information, and last analysis results inside the content list. And for the contents itself, there are the detailed information related to the IP address, such as the IP address itself, the network that been used, the subnet, the country, the continent, the ASN, and so on. And there are also the detailed information related to analysis summary, the statistic, who is information, and the last analysis results by the selected engines. Next. Lastly, for the deobfuscator reporting results, it consists of deobfuscated code, threat intelligence report, domain information, IP information, last analytic result inside the content list. So inside the content itself, the detailed context on the right side, there is the deobfuscated code result that been done by the application first, and then the IOC check result, which being found by the application, if any, inside the deobfuscated code. So users will get the deobfuscated code results and the IOC check results inside the same report. So user don't need to do other IOC check to check the domain or IP that related inside the deobfuscated code. Next.
So when does PlayGuards works? PlayGuards works whenever you need to analyze obfuscated PowerShell code, check for IOC or indicator of compromise, generate automated IOC reports, and support incident response and threat hunting. So in short, PlayGuards is most useful when dealing with malware analysis, forensic investigations, routine operations, and cybersecurity threat detection. So here lies our example of where it works. We have two malwares example, such as Emotet and Trickbot. So here's for examples for Emotet. So there's an coded base64 text, and if we pass it to PlayGuards, it shall decode the base64 encoded text. And well, as you can see, it's not fully readable. It's not beautified at all. So we can pass it again to PlayGuards to make it more easy to read. Here are the results, and it's the previous one. So now it's the Trickbot example. The same goes as the previous one, like Emotet. And for the live demo, well, to begin, I will walk you through the installation process, followed by an exploration of the application and its core functionalities. So you can check PlayGuards GitHub and over into the deployment and usage section. The procedures is actually, it's very straightforward. You can clone the repository and go inside the directories and configure the first API key. For the API key, here's all. You can check the profile and then go to the API key and then utilize your API key that you may copy and paste it to the profile configuration of PlayGuards. And afterwards, you can set the permissions for PlayGuards script to be read, write, and executable. And afterwards, you may execute the PlayGuards script with sudo permissions. And once the installation is done, you can access the PlayGuards application at port 8000. And to navigate at the browser, you may choose all the options available at the left side navbar. There are about and motifs, which covers about our proposed background for developing the PlayGuards, and the tools, which resides our main features like IOC checker and the obfuscator for PowerShell. And afterwards, we also provide the tutorial page, which help you to which guide you to use the PlayGuard itself. And don't forget, we also provide the video. And in the example for our reports. And if you want to know more about us, you can hover down to the Meet the Team section. It shall redirect you to GitHub profiles of ours. Great. Now let's use the search IOC features. And as mentioned previously, we can use 4 parameters, such as hash, IP, domain, and signature. For this example, I will use domain. Let's say donate to xmric.com. And we just have to wait. PlayGuards will send the API request to the integrated threat intelligence we use. And once we receive the API response, PlayGuards shall parse the response to Markdown format. Afterward, it shall convert the Markdown files into a PDF file format. And this is the example. And also you can navigate through the documents using our list of contents. Like if you want to check the IP information, you can click it and it shall direct you to the IP information section. Now, if you want to go back and use it again, you can click the back to home button, and you may choose the tools, browse for upload files. And to remind, the extension we set is PS1 PowerShell or TXT file. So for example, I will use the Emotet example. Here's the example for Emotet. Previously, I mentioned the encoded base64 text. So we pass it, upload file, and we just have to wait. So PlayGuards will obfuscate our upload PowerShell script. Then it shall crawl for IOC if there is available. And here are the list of contents. So as I mentioned previously, you can also crawl through the documents by our list of content section. But as you can see, actually the result is not beautified at all. It's still not easy to read. There are several like syntax like backtick and such as. So you may upload it once again. You may upload it again. Sample 2, which is the previously deobfuscated scripts. And if you upload it again, you shall see the more readable scripts result. Great. Now you can see the more readable section of the scripts. And notice that down below there are several C2 information about the C2 IP or domain used by the threat actor or the malware. Okay, I think that's it for the demo, live demo. Okay, to summarize our presentation and our live demo. So the main features of PlayGuards consist of PowerShell deobfuscator, IOC checker, and automated reporting. And you may see our source code, which is we are open source at GitHub at Red Pill PlayGuards. And thank you for watching.